back again, my friend. Another week, another nickel. Well, we ain't even getting a nickel. What are we talking about?
We ain't getting nickel, but I got a win last week.
Yeah, you did. You got a win. I gotta give you credit on that. I didn't get one yet. I ain't got no win. But hey, I'm gonna say this right now, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Look, you can go to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, our Instagram page, our TikTok page. Do they have a TikTok page?
Our website.
Our website, and anywhere within the sound of my voice that actually has, what do they call them things?
That doesn't annoy you?
That doesn't. I'm always annoyed. What are you talking about? Or I'm always annoying somebody. What is that other thing that we talk on and everybody just listens?
Facebook?
No, I already said Facebook.
I don't know. What is it, Chris? What's
so it's about, that. Chris? It's that podcast.
That's it.
We're too old to even know what a podcast is. I'm just like, well, what is that thing again?
I had to ask.
So, it's you can go to anywhere and get. If it's in our seats, we compete. No, if we compete, no. How does that go again?
I don't know.
We're in our seats if you compete. No, that ain't even how. Go to our Facebook and you can actually find it on our Facebook. Another thing, we've got this little do flunky right here. Scan this right here off your TV. Let me move my fingers out your way. Scan that.
As it moves.
Yep, as it moves, scan it. There you go. Now you don't have to do anything but scan the TV. Go right to our website. You can go to subscribe on our Facebook. But if you see our truck, our white truck riding around, it actually has that on the truck. You can scan it. It's on 3 different places. You scan it. Go to our website. Go to our Facebook. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe. We need some subscribers. No, it's not subscriptions. It's subscribers.
You need some scriptures.
I need some scriptures.
I do too.
No, not of what you just told me just a minute ago. You do. You and Chris both.
I'll admit I do. But if I go get scriptures, I will. I have to bring the fire department with me.
That's why he needs scripture right there, folks. Anyway, so I'm glad to be back at least for another week. Wait, no, you didn't.
I'm gonna wait till later. I'm gonna wait till later.
That's gonna come.
I'm not eating. No, that's later.
That's coming to our professional hour. We're not.
Yeah, literally, we're not there yet. But it pertains to a former college coach, so I will let it lie until it's time.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's do this.
Y'all know who we talking about.
Let's go ahead and get into the college atmosphere right now. Okay, we got games coming up here in a little bit, so let's go ahead and start this off with the AP and college poll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can say I pretty much agree with it. I didn't agree with it before because, of course, my Gators didn't get up in there. But after that loss that we had, we don't deserve to be even top 25. With that being said, there's 2 teams here completely stand out. Completely. If you look at this, you've got Alabama and Georgia 1 and 2. There's only 2 ways that these two aren't in the championship game. For me, my opinion, 2 ways that they're not in the championship game. And that is if the one loses to Florida and the other one loses to Alabama. So, our one loses to Florida, which will be the 30th of this month, which will be Florida-Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
If Georgia loses there, then Georgia will have to lose again, which would be to Alabama at the SEC championship game. The question you have coming in there is Florida beats Georgia, Georgia beats Kentucky. You've got a round robin. Who wins? Who actually goes to the SEC championship game? You're going to have to look at the further record. I think Georgia's going to have a better record, so then they're going to play Alabama.
You look at strength of schedule and...
Well, the strength of schedule in the SEC East is going to be the same because they play everybody the same, each team. Is Georgia
playing the same teams as Florida?
Pretty much not.
Well, see, pretty much is where it is going to come into play.
Which is a possibility. Now, when does the BCS poll come out? That's going to show you something.
The last 3 weeks of the season, I believe.
Is it? I thought it was like the 16th.
The last 3 or 4 weeks, I believe it is.
Okay, so that may be around the 16th because we played Florida, Georgia. And when do we play you guys? When does Florida play
last
FSU?
game of the year.
So it's before that.
It is too many games for me to know right
So my whole point there is Florida, Georgia, Florida-Georgia game is really going to set the SEC championship game, which I'm under the impression right now, as a Florida fan, that Georgia's going to win. And that means Georgia and Alabama are going to play in the SEC championship. If everything goes to the point, now Alabama has to play Auburn and LSU. They have to play both of them. So you're right. I'm expecting those two to actually play, Georgia and Alabama. Here's my scenarios. If Georgia beats Alabama, Georgia will go to number 1. Alabama goes back to 4.
Nah, they won't. They'll go to 2.
I'm telling you, they'll go to 4 because they have a loss. At that point, you're going to have some of those other Penn State or Iowa or Oklahoma going to be out there.
I say the only way.
Well, this was my suggestion, not yours.
But we got to talk about, because I'll forget.
That's true. Go ahead.
Call me Jimmy Biden. If Alabama and Georgia,
okay.
If Georgia beats Bama, I say Bama goes to number 2 unless one of the other ones, Iowa, Penn State, Cincinnati,
right?
They would have to stay undefeated, and they would have to be blowing people out. But if they're not blowing people out and dominating them, I say Alabama still goes to 2.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with that scenario is because I think when BCS comes along, Georgia's going to be ahead of Alabama because of the BCS. Because it takes strength of schedule, and Alabama's strength is weaker than Georgia's strength because Georgia has actually played several top 10 or top 15 teams. Alabama hasn't. They played Georgia. They were a top 15 team, and they played Miami when they were at the beginning of the season, which was top 15 team. Yet. No, not Georgia, Florida. I meant Florida. Right. So that's the only 2 that you have. But then you look at Georgia. Georgia's playing. They played Clemson at the beginning of the year, who was number 1. And then you had number 2. And then you had Alabama. I'm lost now. You got Alabama that played.
You got the schedule
somewhere in here, but I want to think about it. So you got Alabama that played, or Georgia that played Clemson, and then Georgia's going to play Florida, but Florida's now going to be ranked like number 20th or something. So that may be I think the BCS. What you're going to find out in the BCS is strength of schedule is going to play in it, but you're going to find out just like the ESPN poll last week showed Georgia over Alabama. I think you're going to find that same thing when it comes to the BCS.
Was it the ESPN? Remember, I told you there was a poll out.
I went back.
Was it the ESPN
when
poll?
you said that, I went back and looked at it, and it was the ESPN poll, which nobody seems to look at nowadays, because everything pretty much stays the same. And let's face it, these other polls, the coaches poll and the AP poll, they have put people up in the top 10 that should have never been in the top 10. Clemson should have never. They're not even in the rankings. 25th? Might as well call them not in the rankings.
No, they're not in the rankings.
Right, and Georgia, in Florida, they're back at number 20, and they had them at 13. They were real hesitant to put them at 10. And then you had Texas A&M, which was at number 5 at the beginning of the year, 6, and they're back in the realm of things.
They're guessing just like us fans.
I understand that, but if ESPN can come up a little bit closer, then people should be able to come a little closer in what they're doing. They're going off record from last year and not looking at the potential from this year. So you got Alabama and Georgia. Okay, we're going to talk SEC. We're in the South, so we're going to talk South. We're going to talk SEC. We'll get to the Florida-Kentucky game. We'll get to the Alabama game. We'll get to the Georgia game. But let's look at Iowa. Right now, Iowa's sitting at number 3, and I don't see anybody that can beat them. I don't.
Iowa?
Yeah, because Iowa State was going to be their closest matchup. That's what everybody's saying.
What's the rest, Chris? Click on Iowa and see what the rest of their schedule is.
So if you look at that schedule, I don't really see, like right down here. You look at, can you put that, there you go.
Okay, so it's versus Penn State.
Penn State. Now that's this week. Whoever wins that game is going to be knocked back because one of them's 5 and one of them's 3 and one of them's 4.
But you said you didn't see anybody that could beat them.
I don't think Penn State's that good. I don't think Penn State can beat them. I don't see it.
I'm actually going with Penn State on that game.
Well, you're going to lose. Don't worry about it. So I think Iowa is there. If you look at their schedule, there's nobody else on there that Wisconsin.
Don't count out Wisconsin.
I was going to say Wisconsin.
I'm not saying Wisconsin's a powerhouse, but Wisconsin usually is a giant killer. They lose to the teams that they shouldn't. That's Wisconsin's problem.
Well, and, yeah, you're exactly right. But
it's like Stanford. Stanford's going to lose 3 games every year, and usually it's the teams that they shouldn't be losing to because they'll beat anybody that's ranked.
Yeah,
They just can't win the smaller games, the sleeper games. And then also, what is that, the end of the year? No, I'm not going with them on Nebraska.
Right, so my whole thing right there is you're saying there's another game. The only game is Penn State. I don't think Penn State's even going to hold a candle to them. I think Penn State's way overrated, and
Where
you're going to see
playing?
that. I think they're playing in Iowa.
Yeah,
they're playing in Iowa. Yeah, so if they're playing in Iowa, Penn State has to travel. They don't have a whiteout situation. They can't make the crowd any better. And I think their home field actually gives them a lot of advantages. I don't see Penn State.
I'm going with Penn State.
Okay. Well, and then you got Cincinnati. And then you're running Cincinnati up in there, and Cincinnati really does not play anybody.
Go to Cincinnati schedule, Chris.
So if let's say Iowa wins, or Penn State wins, whoever wins, other one's going to be knocked down, going to be knocked back past Ohio State and Oregon. And then we're going to get to what my brother calls me my obsession.
Okay, Cincinnati. And
nobody.
I mean.
Nobody. Navy, maybe.
Go down. Oh, I'm not disagreeing that Cincinnati, they definitely should go undefeated.
So if they go undefeated, they're going to push them all the way up in the top 4, and there's going to be a blowout where the SEC is going to blow them out. But then let's get down to Oklahoma, which is overrated, I'm saying, and then you're getting down to who? They've already lost one game. Because this man, my brother says he's my obsession, because I don't like him so much, I got to keep bringing him up. But Kirk Herbstreit is selling this team. He is selling this team out. He's done it for years. Ohio State has proven they're not up to snuff. They've already lost. So I just don't see you're going to bring them and put them in there. Now, you look at Cincinnati, they're only 4-0 when everybody else is 5-0. But you've got to look at their points, 1,300 points, but they're playing nobody. So I just don't. Now, Oregon, I see Oregon as a better team. I watched them play the other night. I think Oregon's got a pretty good team. They've got great wide receivers, and they have a really good quarterback.
Yeah, they're a good team until they play a talented team.
A talented, yeah. Well, anybody's a great team until they play somebody that's better than they are.
But I mean, it's they're Oregon. I'm just gonna let them speak for themselves.
Well, okay. I mean, and that's
when they play another team that's got some talent.
I see what you're saying. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go by the American Athletic Conference, and then we'll go to each conference and look at the conferences. So if you look at the American Athletic Conference, you're talking about the Houston Cougars are winning that conference. All right? Houston is winning that conference. Who's in that conference? Cincinnati's in that conference. They're beating Cincinnati because they haven't played a region game. They haven't played anybody in that conference.
Game.
Yeah, they have not played a conference game. I call them regions, my bad. But if you look, they're 4-0 outside the conference, but they haven't played anybody inside the conference. Why is that?
That's why I don't care about that stuff. To be honest, I
understand that, but then you can't care about the actual polls that come out, the coaches poll or the AP poll.
I really don't.
But that's where everybody's got it into.
I don't think these big teams like Alabama, Georgia. Why are you playing a 1 AA school?
Money to give
to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to make your money off of it, but I mean, and occasionally you do have the Appalachian State that's going to win, or Jacksonville State.
Well, I think that what you have is you've got those teams that are actually going to come in, and you're going to actually have what do I want to call it? You're going to have the smaller schools come in for the money, and those other teams, they call them the get-up games to make them feel better, to move on to the next one, to work on their technique. Like we were talking on our Facebook for high school games. They're better at their technique. I tell you what.
Research less and relax more with eTravel Anytime. Let us help you decide which Sandals destination is best for your romantic getaway, or help you choose the family resort that is best for your vacation. We can also help you decide which cruise is best for you and your family. Tell us your preferences and we can narrow down your choices. Contact us today so we can help you plan your next vacation. Call 229-300-3691. Need a website for your business? Let Shadowfox Design help. We will design and build your website so you have more time for your business. We will help with all your online needs so you have more time for your customers. Learn more and get started now by going to www.shadowfox.design.
So back with the strength of schedule. I understand where you're coming from as far as you don't really look at the games now, which is what I was saying last week. If you remember, we were talking about the BCS poll. When the BCS poll comes out, that's when things get interesting. Because all the polls are so skewed right now because, it's fun for us to sit here and say, 22 is this, and 15 is this, and 12 is this, and it gives our team somebody to brag about, but it doesn't really mean anything until the BCS poll comes out. And that's what I was saying last week, and you're saying it this week, and I'll just reiterate, I agree with you on that part. We don't agree on very much, but we agree on that right now. But it's still fun to go by and look at the different conferences. So we're going to go to the Atlantic Conference. And if you look at the Atlantic Conference, Wake Forest is
We would not be representing in this year.
Well, exactly, because, Florida. Well, actually, in the conference, you're only 1-2. Florida State's only 1-2.
I'm talking about the ACC in general would not be represented in the national championship.
Oh, no, you won't get Wake Forest is your best shot. Wake Forest is your best shot, and where are they right now? I think they're 15 or 16, or they're not in it at all. No, they're at 19. So Wake Forest is your best shot. They got to continue to win on out. That's the only shot you're going to have. The question is, who's going to play in the ACC championship game? So you're going to go with Wake Forest and North Carolina?
No.
Right now, that's who you got.
Are you in? You got the East, or you got the different divisions within?
You got the Atlantic and the Coastal.
Yeah.
So you're going to look at the Coastal. So let's look at these two right here. So you got right now, you got the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Can you pull that up, Chris?
And you got Wake Forest. But this one is showing North Carolina Tar Heels with the 2-2 in record, in conference record.
Your first tab, I believe it is.
So
the Atlantic Coast.
Right there. So
you got Wake Forest at 5-0, 3-0 in the conference.
But then you go down here at 4-1 is Pitt. Is at 4-1. But if you go further down, you look at North Carolina is there at 2-2. But look at them, and that's 2-2 in conference, whereas Pitt's only 1-0 in the conference. The better overall record, which you're not going by, you only go by conference record. So right now, if it stood today, Pitt would be playing Wake Forest, and I called the Wake Forest a long time ago.
I'll be honest, I ain't too sure NC State won't wind up.
Well, and that's just it. That's what we were saying just a minute ago was the NC State. If you look at NC State's record, though, NC State right now they're at 4-1, but in conference they're only 1-0. So what they're doing is the same thing we talked about on our other show on Facebook.
I'm gonna go NC State and Virginia Tech.
But they're gonna have to come in and play Wake Forest. That's the problem that you see right now. Wake Forest has played more. That's why they're leading it. Once you get towards the end of the season, you're going to be able to see who's coming up and who's not. All right, so we've covered the ACC. Now let's go over to the Big 12. You got Oklahoma Sooners are at 6. You got Oklahoma State Cowboys at number 12. And then you got Texas Longhorns at number 21. They just broke in this week. So the question is Oklahoma State, they play at the end of the year. Is that going to be the game to watch? Because if they can beat Oklahoma, if Oklahoma State can beat them, they're both going to be ranked in the top 10.
It will be the game to watch if you're just like the other conferences, if you're a Big 12. Yeah.
Well,
I don't think a lot of us in this area are going to be worried about that game.
The only reason I say that, though, but here's the thing. If Oklahoma loses to Oklahoma State, that bumps them completely out. Remember, we were talking just a few minutes ago about Oklahoma. Where were we at? Oh, I just went to 12 there, so hang on. We were looking at Oklahoma coming in on, if you look at this, right now, Penn State and Iowa are playing this week. Oklahoma wins this week, then Oklahoma moves up to 5. They're in the top. They're going to be in the fight for all of that.
Yeah, they won't think.
So, and then that's the question. So, at Oklahoma State and them, they play. you're looking at the Big 12. That's going to be a nice. At the end of the year, that would be a nice matchup anyway. But then the East, you got the Michigan Wolverines, they're playing pretty good ball right now. They're 5-0. They're ranked number 9. And then you got Michigan State with 5-0.
Go to the Big 10.
Then you got Penn State. They're in the East. Penn State's in the East. Here's the thing: they got them in alphabetical order. So Penn State's at number 4 in the East, or number 3 in the East, but they're ranked number 4 in the national poll. Michigan's ranked number 11 in the national poll, but 2 in the East. And Michigan Wolverines are ranked number 9 in the national poll, but ranked number 1 in the East. That's what when we were talking about earlier about the polls, they don't mean anything because you're looking at these standings. And these standings,
you're only not quite halfway through the season.
Right. This is the reason I wanted to bring this up. This is what we were talking about earlier, and you didn't realize it either, and I don't think anybody else does, but I didn't until I started studying this stuff this past week, was in the standings, these people that are ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except for Alabama and Georgia, in the standings right now, in their own regions, they're not number 1 in their own regions because they're not playing anybody in their region to start out.
You're talking about in their conference.
Oh, yeah, in their conference.
Yeah.
So what's happening is I think all these conference standings are really way miscued.
Well,
and
the
you're looking
next
at
couple of weeks is when you're going to have teams. You're going to see teams starting to.
Oh yeah, they'll start to stand out, and I think that's why the BCS doesn't. That's why the BCS doesn't
that's
do.
why it doesn't come out to like the last month of the season.
So you can wash out all the trash, and that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what's going on right now. The trash is starting to wash out. Yeah. You're going to see more of it washing out because number 5 is playing number 6, and this and that this next week. But that's going to be the highlight. I think game day. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think game day's there. I'm not sure. But that Iowa game's going to be pretty good.
I think game day is Bama and Texas A&M. I believe it is.
Well, because that's a big rival now. The question is, do you think your old ball coach can pull it out?
Heck no. I hope he gets beat 99 to nothing and the scoreboard explodes on the next touchdown.
Why? Do you have some animosity against Jimbo Fisher?
I'm not going to say that.
No, say it.
No, I was going to say something else.
Oh, he's going to be wordy dirt over here. Yeah, okay.
No, I done told you, as far as Jimbo, I hope he loses every game he ever coaches.
Well, and see, that's the same way I felt about Urban Meyer when he left Miami, because at that particular, Nick Saban when he left Miami. I felt the exact same way with Nick Saban when he left Miami. He did Miami dirty. He couldn't tough it out because he got some of the same scrutiny that Urban Meyer is going through right now, except for the thumbs up.
You talking about Saban?
Saban's got some of the same scrutiny that Urban Meyer's getting right now, minus the thumbs up. Because they were saying, oh, everything looks like a college. He's running things like he's in college level still. He's this, he's that. So the question is, why did he leave in the middle of the night like Indianapolis did back in the 1970s to move out somewhere?
How much was he making at Miami?
I don't recall. That's so long ago. All I know is the man quit on Miami. He said he was going to be
there.
There's
no doubt he did, but I can.
But
I can give
at that time. But no, at that time he wasn't making the kind of money he's making now. He wasn't even on. He still left Miami and was making a lot more at Alabama. I don't know. I'd have to go back and research that. And maybe on our next show next week, if you can bring that back to everybody and let them know.
We'll circle back.
No, we'll circle back to that. Now I'm telling you, if we forget, it's his fault.
Well, you might as well just not.
You might as well not even do it. Yeah. All right. So let's take a minute. Let's sit back and let's think about what's going on in college right now, as far as the players, the individuals themselves. So people are starting to stand out as far as Heisman Trophy maybes. Heisman Trophy could be most likely, and people are starting to talk. So this past week, there's been a lot of talk about Young with Alabama becoming the Heisman frontrunner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to give you a couple names. Let me move this out of the way real quick. I'm going to give you a couple names, and then I'm going to tell you the stats of some of these people. and you tell me which one should be running for, which one you would say would be a Heisman candidate, or is it just because he's at Alabama?
Is it because he's at Alabama? I'd answer that right off the bat.
Bryce Young has 1,365 yards passing. Okay. All right. Passing, JT Daniels has 567 yards. Granted, he has not played a lot because Stetson Bennett at Georgia also has 515 yards. So those
put together, they still have less.
They got 1,100 yards, correct. So then Iowa, we just talked about Iowa, who's ranked 4th or 5th, whatever it is, 6th. No, they're playing number 6, Penn State. So Spencer at Iowa has 943 yards. Okay? Penn State. Now, these are all quarterbacks. We're not doing anybody else. These are all quarterbacks. So let's do Penn State. Sean Clifford, he has 1,336 yards. So he's right there up underneath Young. Then at Cincinnati, we were talking about Cincinnati. Desmond Ryder has 1,000 yards. And then you look at Oklahoma. We were just talking about Oklahoma. And Oklahoma and Spencer. And this is another guy that everybody thinks that he should be between. It should be between him and Young. He has 1,260 yards. All right. Then you've got. We just did Spencer. I don't know why I printed him out twice. I must have been really liked him. But then you've got at Ohio State. You got Stroud, who has 1,293 yards. So. Young, and then at Oregon, he has Anthony Brown has 950 yards. So my question to you, and then Michigan Wolverines Cody has 731 yards. So my question to you, that was the top 10 teams right in that area or somewhere in that area. So my question to you is Young really the most desirable quarterback? And you're going to go, usually the Heisman Trophy winner is the most desirable person in the NFL draft. So is he right now the standout quarterback? And we're just talking about quarterbacks. We're not talking about wide receivers that have caught more yards.
But you went off of that, but let me tell you this.
Okay.
There's another quarterback. So the most on there was what, 1,300 yards?
1,365 yards. That's just the top 10 teams that I've gone through.
But if you want to look at, let's go with a quarterback that has thrown for 2,200 yards, 1,900 yards, 1,800 yards.
These are all, but see, here's the problem with what you're doing. Those teams aren't ranked and not playing any of the bigger teams because these teams are actually that you're talking out of the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or the Munchkin 12 or whatever.
This is the passing leaders.
But that's the passing leaders. But what are their teams?
Fresno State, Virginia, Mississippi State, Pittsburgh, Western. But that's not what we're looking at. You're talking about the yardage,
right.
And does he deserve to be there?
That's my question. Okay, now you said Mississippi State. What's the Mississippi State? How many passing yards does he have?
He has 1,862, 14
right.
touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Mississippi State plays in the SEC. Okay, who the leader there? There's Fresno State, right? Mm-hmm. So you can say he plays a lesser team. So who's the next one?
Oh, hang on, I'm back to something else. The number 2 is Brennan Armstrong, 1,973 yards.
And who's he
Virginia.
With? Okay, he's with Virginia. Now, Virginia plays ACC schools mostly, but then they play some of them smaller ones, but they're in the top whatever.
But my thing is...
I'm getting to
But see, I look at how valuable is he to the team, which quarterbacks usually are the most valuable. But that's why I don't like the stats, because they're misleading.
Okay.
I mean, these guys here, like you were saying, I mean, Fresno State, he has 2,230 yards. Let's see, who did he play?
Right, that's my point. But if you look at Mississippi State, he has more yards than... I'm just going to use Mississippi State.
He's got more than Bryce.
He's got more than Bryce. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem that I have with this whole thing. They're looking at the yardage and they're looking at all this other stuff. More of the hype or the media sensation or any of that stuff is being put on Bryce. That's where I think it's wrong.
Well, it's just like with Tua.
Yeah, that's my... exactly.
I don't agree with all of it. I don't think it's way too early to talk about Heisman hype. JT Daniels was a Heisman candidate.
Well, no, he wasn't a candidate.
He was a candidate. He was a favorite when the season started.
Yeah, but he wasn't a candidate, but he was a favorite at the beginning of the year.
Well, how's that not a candidate
then he got
if
hurt.
he's a favorite?
Because the candidate is the one that's been nominated for it. That's the candidate.
They haven't nominated.
That's my whole point.
Yet.
You don't have a candidate yet.
But you do have people that are favorites.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about favorites. I'm not talking about a candidate right now. There's no candidates right now. Candidates.
You can say there ain't, but there he is.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. That's the whole thing. I tell you what. We're gonna take. Well, no, I'm gonna take a break right now. Hold on. That's what I'm getting at. A candidate is somebody like I'm running for office, and I've already said that I'm running for office, and I've already qualified for office. The problem is that people are starting to hype. That's where we're at right now in the hype. And the media is putting everything on Young when you have all these other people that are out here and all these other schools. Mississippi State, the kid there, he's in the SEC. He's playing SEC schools every day. He's just not winning. So he doesn't have his name on it.
Name one Heisman Trophy winner from a losing school.
There's been several of them. Baker Mayfield didn't win a national championship.
But he had winning season.
You can consider him a loser.
No, I'm just
he didn't
asking,
win a national championship game.
But did he have a winning season or a losing season?
He was in a national championship game, so he had a winning season.
Okay.
But he did not win it all, so he's a loser. Tell you what, let's circle back on that in just a minute. We'll be right back with you.
Need a website for your business? Let Shadowfox Design help. We will design and build your website so you have more time for your business. We will help with all your online needs so you have more time for your customers. Learn more and get started now by going to www.shadowfox.design. Research less and relax more with eTravel Anytime. Let us help you decide which sandals destination is best for your romantic getaway, or help you choose the family resort that is best for your vacation. We can also help you decide which cruise is best for you and your family. Tell us your preferences and we can narrow down your choices. Contact us today so we can help you plan your next vacation. Call 229-300-3691.
Okay, before we took the break, we were talking about people or quarterbacks that didn't have a winning season. I am saying didn't win it all, but still won the Heisman. I was going to say Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence had I don't think he won the Heisman, did he?
No.
So, because I think Tua beat him out, or whatever it was. But during the break, you proved me wrong. And you said, because you looked it up on your Google machine, and you said that Paul Hornung was the only one to have a record.
A losing record.
A losing record and still win the Heisman. Mm-hmm. So, that just tells me that it could happen. Lightning may not strike twice in the same place, but it could happen. But I also think that if you're doing, if the hype in today's society, Paul Hornung, back then, you had to take telegraph out and send it to see what he's getting. Today, everything is instant. And I say that jokingly, but as far as Paul Hornung telegraph. But no, telegraph with Paul Hornung. But now, everything is instant. It is. I mean, once they load it up on Facebook, unless it was yesterday, because Facebook, Instagram, everything was down, and the people were jonesing just for it to come back on. All the news media's covered it and everything.
Not those that work.
Yeah, those that work too.
Some.
Because a lot of people do a lot of stuff on that little Google machine now.
On Facebook?
On Facebook and all those other places.
See, now I had Google.
Yeah, but there was, I think it was, what were it, Chris? Instagram?
Facebook.
Instagram.
Oh, the entertainment stuff.
WhatsApp.
Oculus VR.
And who?
Oculus VR.
See.
Oculus VR, whatever that is.
It's a what?
It's another Facebook owned.
Oh.
It's another Facebook owned?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll let me go live. Because Facebook won't.
So it's what
it's just a simple fact of a loser is never going to win the Heisman again, unless his record is unless he's playing Alabama and throws for 400, 500 yards. Then the next week he's playing Georgia and throws for 400 or 500 yards. Then he goes and plays Cincinnati and throws for 4 or 5.
I'm gonna tell you
unless he plays a record like that, then he would be a Heisman.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? Hear me clearly. Everybody there, hear me clearly. Young is not going to win the national championship, and he is still going to be in the top running for the Heisman. Because Georgia is going to prove what nobody else has been able to do. Because, again, I went through that scenario earlier. Georgia and Alabama are going to be in the national championship game. If not there, they're playing in the playoffs. But I'm telling you right now that Georgia is going to show, their defense is going to show you what Young is really about.
Mark it, Chris.
Put an exclamation point beside it, and everybody out there, remember I said that.
On the description, say, who are you? Roger.
Yeah, me.
I'm Jimmy.
Yeah.
Say, Roger says Alabama does not win the national title.
I'm saying it right now. I'm saying that if it gets down to it and Georgia has a chance to play Alabama, Georgia beats Alabama. Whether it's in the SEC championship game, if it's not there, then it's going to be in the actual national championship game. Mark it. I'm telling you, mark it. Let me see this. There you go. I marked it.
You put a pin mark right there.
Exactly. I marked it. That's what I was supposed to do. I point mark
it. Not Chris. I go with Chris's mark.
Oh, come on now. He doesn't go with my mark at all. See, that's the problem. You don't trust me, man. So anyway, yeah, you understand what my beef was this week about all of the NCAA schools being ranked in the top and all the. I just got under my skin when you realize that the SEC is at the top, and so they're going to start throwing Young out there. Yes, he's played pretty good.
Because
but
that's what sells. The SEC right now sells.
Well, yeah, that's why Oklahoma and Texas wanted to come in. Mm-hmm. But then again, let's look at the super conference that they're making over on the other side. So they're going to be able to sell that too.
They want to call it that.
But it's going to be, it's going to be a super conference because you need 50 teams in it. But, so I just think what everybody needs to do is, I know the rankings are really important. Just shut up about the Young being your Heisman Trophy candidate. I just don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's time.
But that's
he's got to play. No, it's not the schools. That's your media, man.
The schools is the one that get these guys videos out and start.
I understand that, but if it wasn't for the media,
and it's us fans that also push it.
Look, like I was saying about Paul there. Now you got to remember there was nothing out there, but they pushed him right through it with a non-winning record to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. Right now, the media is what's putting it out there, and I'm saying, media, chill out. Because it's just...
You can say it, but it ain't going to happen.
Oh, it ain't going to happen. No, because they're going to keep doing it. And who am I? I want to NBC in Tallahassee. They don't care.
Nope.
So it's one of those things, but I can say my piece. I'm known for saying it. Sometimes it's wrong, but I say it because it comes from inside. So with that being said, I say it. You ought to go see what. Go ahead. You keep opening your mouth.
Go ahead.
Does your arm?
I got 3 questions.
All right, I got to ask you one first.
Go ahead.
Does your arm work with your mouth? Because every time you open your mouth, your arm goes up. It looks like
I don't get a chance to talk real much. Go ahead.
Okay, you want to talk? I am actually going to close these lips. But I was only going to do it for a second.
See, there you go. Mama T, I feel so bad for you.
Go ahead, man.
Zorgeron out?
Yes.
I say he's out at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it in the middle, but I think he's going.
There is, as far as national championship game, it's early. But if we want to say, I think it's a 2-horse. There's only 2 horses in this thing. I don't think anybody that gets involved with them 2 is going to wish they had. And it's going to be Georgia and Alabama. I don't see anybody else taking it.
I agree. And I'm a Gator. I'm a Gator at heart. I'm a Gator homer, as he calls it. But I completely agree with you.
I want to give a shout out to our Noles. They finally won a game.
They actually won a game, for sure.
Now we got North Carolina today at 3:30, so let's get that done. I'm hoping Travis Hunter, who is the #1 recruit in the nation, even though he visited Georgia last week, he is out for the year with a fractured ankle. He has said, do not worry, he's still coming to Tallahassee.
Because you just had one decommit, too, this past
tied
week.
In.
Yeah, he decommitted, and he's probably going to Georgia from what I'm hearing. But he actually decommitted.
Yeah.
From Florida State.
Everybody's going to have a few. Everybody.
Oh yeah, well
Alabama does.
But
Clemson
the
does.
reason
Georgia.
Alabama does though is because they over recruit. FSU's
Well,
having a problem now
do.
because but the problem with FSU right now, they're having a problem because of their record is why they can't get people to come in, and that's you got to put it on your coaches, man. Your coaches are the ones that have to make those decisions. I got a question for you. We talked about this on our high school show, which is on Facebook at The Armchair Sports. And you can get us on YouTube and see all this on YouTube, our high school show, and subscribe to that. But I'm going to ask you this quick question. And Garcia got to play for Miami last week and this week. So my question for you is, we're actually in Lowndes County. We're just north of Tallahassee. And Jakari Brown, who is Lowndes County Viking, which you are a member of their touchdown club. We have spoken, we have had him on the show, and some of his teammates. Do you think because he sees that Garcia's getting some of that playing time now, and they're kind of shuffling around in their Jakari
rotation?
Jakari said he's going to go and he's going to be the starter. Do you think he decommits before this season's out from Miami?
No. He's going to Florida. Or Miami, I mean.
He's going to Florida?
Yeah.
Florida.
No, Jakari's, he's too committed. I've talked to him a time or two since then, and he said no. He is definitely going to Miami. He is definitely going to, because he's leaving, I believe he's leaving early.
Yeah, he's leaving in December, he said.
He said he is, same thing he told us. He's going to win the quarterback spot.
Oh well, yeah. He said he's going to compete and he will win the spot.
He said he is not expecting to be a backup. That's why he's going early.
So if he doesn't get that spot, is he the type of guy that's actually to go into the portal the first year? Because he can play 4 games and still have a freshman and still be redshirted.
I don't know if he would be open to being moved. He didn't really say on that show that night. He said if he wasn't playing quarterback, he wouldn't mind defensive end or linebacker.
Right.
But I don't see him being moved to that position. I think if any position for him, if they flat out say, look, you're not playing quarterback here, he's our starter for right now. If you want to play, man, how do you not move in the receiver as big as he is? I mean, he's 6'5", 6'6", he's 230, 240, and that's bigger than probably most of the receivers in the NFL right now.
Do you think he'd be open to that? I tell you what we should do.
I'll ask him Friday night if I see him.
Ask him and see if we can get him come on, and we'll have him come on this show. We won't have him come on our high school show. We'll have him come on the college show.
Yeah.
And see if he wants to come on and just talk about that particular thing right there. And next week when we talk about it, maybe he can give us some answers.
I'll talk to him Friday.
All right, that'll work. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a break. And we're going to come back because we've got some pros to still talk about and a couple more
Give you a finger.
college things coming up. This guy. We'll circle back to the finger in a minute. Really? Come on, dude. Yeah, whatever.
It's your coach.
What?
Research less and relax more with eTravel Anytime. Let us help you decide which Sandals destination is best for your romantic getaway, or we'll help you choose the family resort that is best for your vacation. We can also help you decide which cruise is best for you and your family. Tell us your preferences and we can narrow down your choices. Contact us today so we can help you plan your next vacation. Call 229-300-3691. Need a website for your business? Let Shadowfox Design help. We will design and build your website so you have more time for your business. We will help with all your online needs so you have more time for your customers. Learn more and get started now by going to www.shadowfox.design.
The thumbs up.
The thumbs
up. Okay, wait. We'll get into that in just a minute. But the phrase that I missed earlier, it may have been on our other show that I did, but I missed the phrase.
on the other one.
It's on the other show?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I completely messed up our hook. and our hook is supposed to be, I forget what it is. If it competes, we'll be in our seats. And I completely butchered that hook up on our other show.
It was worse than a butcher.
Oh, it was worse. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you got to go to our Facebook.
And you're the one that come up with it.
I know. Well, actually, no, I'm not. One of our writers actually came up with it.
Okay.
But I took, of course, claim to it. But all right, if you'll go on our Facebook and our YouTube page and all that, you'll know what we're talking about. But that was on the Tuesday night show that we do. So go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter, go to our Instagram, our TikTok, our Talk or whatever.
What's it called?
It's
Chris?
called
What?
Chris is asleep. Our podcast. We just had to wake Chris up over. You guys didn't see. He's like, what?
Should have seen it when he had food in front of him before.
No kidding. So anyway, let's finish up with the college, then we'll get up to the thumbs up.
Let's just go over the top 10 real quick.
Okay.
Bama is playing at Texas A&M.
Going to be a good ball game. Alabama, I think, comes second. They may get into the second quarter, but I get into the second quarter when they start really hitting on them. But that ball game's going to be a blowout.
I am a no, but roll tide on this, and I want you to blow the scoreboard up.
No, but roll tide. I like that. That was pretty good. He's a no, but roll tide. Look, you're having two teams at one for dinner. Go ahead, bro.
Don't even take mercy.
No
mercy.
No, but roll tide. I like that.
Number 2 Georgia, number 18 Auburn. I
think it's going to be good.
Is it good till halftime? Or is it over by half?
I think it's over by halftime. I think it'll be a pretty good ball game to start out with, but I'm telling you, dude, Georgia's defense is just way better.
Their defense is what's got them undefeated.
Oh yeah,
their offense is decent. Is better than most, but their defense is just like that.
Let's talk about that real quick because then we got to move on. We didn't hit on this in our earlier in the show, but if you look at Georgia's Bennett and Stetson, right?
Yeah, Stetson Bennett, and
JT Daniels. You look at their two stats; they've got over 1,000 yards passing. So it's almost 1,100 yards passing.
That's in 5 games.
I know that.
But they only passed last week 10 times.
I understand that. So look at that. And Young has only 1,300 yards himself, and he's being considered for the Heisman. So Georgia's not too bad behind the ball there. But anyway,
not running. Running, they're fine.
Running, they're fine.
That's what I'm saying. Running, they're fine. But that's why they haven't had. That's why they've only had to have 1,100.
They haven't had this consistency at quarterback. They have had the consistency as throwing the ball because both of them have over 500 yards throwing it, and which gives them 1,100 yards total, which would rank them really up in the top echelon of the NCAA right now.
But anyway let's move on. Let's go to Iowa, who is playing that. This should be the game of the week.
That's what I'm saying,
3 versus 4, Iowa versus Penn State.
Dude, you really need to fix this table. Look at
not my
that.
table. I don't care.
I know you don't. Go ahead.
Number 5, Cincy, is at Temple. Now I'm going with Temple on that.
Wait, Cincy. You didn't say nothing about the Iowa game. Iowa, Penn State.
Iowa and Penn State, I'm going Penn State.
That's right. We differed on this.
We did
Iowa.
that.
That's right. Okay.
6 Oklahoma versus 21 Texas, and they're going to be at Texas.
I'm going to take Texas.
I am too because I'm not that impressed with Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is about 10 spots too high.
Yep, I completely agree. No, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing the Cincinnati Temple game. No. I'm going to take Temple over Cincinnati.
Okay.
But then I'm going to take Oklahoma against Texas.
All right. Kirk Herbstreit at number 7 plays Maryland.
Anybody that can beat Kirk Herbstreit and the Ohio State Buckeyes, I'm rooting for. I may be wrong. My brother always says I use my head, not my heart. I use my heart, not my head. And I am going to go with Maryland. I know this probably won't happen. But.
Good gosh almighty. We have agreed 2 times on one show because I hope Maryland blows up their scoreboard.
You know how you are with the Knowles in Alabama. I am the same way, or Alabama and Texas A&M. I'm the same way with Ohio. Anybody that can beat them, I'll be happy. Go ahead. Oregon all the way.
Yep. They're playing California.
Yep.
Michigan 5-0 plays at Nebraska.
Michigan.
I'm still going Michigan. And number 10, BYU, I believe, is off.
Okay. Then BYU should stay there. I bet you they win that.
We got some notables.
Okay.
13 Arkansas is at number 17 Ole Miss.
Ooh, we were just talking about Ole Miss too.
Considering they're playing at Ole Miss,
I think I'm gonna take Ole Miss on that one, bro. I really do.
Yeah. 19 Notre Dame versus Virginia Tech. I'm going with Virginia Tech.
I'd like to see Virginia Tech win, but I think Notre Dame's gonna win it.
Fuentes has to start winning.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, other notables, and you probably don't care about this team. 15 Coastal Carolina versus Arkansas State. I know it's one of those who is Arkansas State, but Coastal Carolina has been consistent the last couple of years.
They have, and you got to give them credit, especially this past week. So I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. Kentucky.
Ooh, they just whipped my
at home versus LSU.
They're coming off a high with Florida, and I'm telling you, the Cinderella. We talked about this before the show, and we actually talked about it on our Tuesday show last week on Facebook and YouTube. Go there and check that out. But I'm telling you, the sleeper this year is Kentucky. I was looking way past them because I didn't think that Stoops actually had it in him to win. They beat Florida last year, and they came back and beat Florida again this year. So I'm going to take Kentucky on that one.
My heart want to says go with Kentucky because I like Stoops. He was our defense. No, he wasn't our defense coordinator that year, but he did help turn around our defense those years.
Yep.
My heart says go there, but LSU they've got a good record, not a great record. He's in trouble.
If he doesn't win, he's done.
But they're going to Kentucky, and I think LSU's going to win it.
Yeah, if he doesn't, he's done this year.
I think he's done this year anyway.
Done.
At the end of the year, I think he's going to be
Let's move on. We got to get to some other stuff.
And your Florida Gators versus Vandy.
No, they're going to beat Vandy hands down. But, it's because Vandy's just not that good
this year. That's what you said against Kentucky.
I did, and they surprised me, but I didn't realize.
But then again, they got that wake-up call last week.
Yeah,
so they're
exactly.
They're
out for revenge this week.
Unranked Clemson, when was the last time we could say that?
It's been 6 years? 7,
It's been longer than that.
Maybe 7 years.
And they're playing Syracuse.
So
I think Florida State beat.
Then.
That's all for college football.
Let's move on to the thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. That's a good
Everybody's
transition.
Favorite coach.
Everybody's heard about it all week long. What's going on with Urban Meyers? What happened? If you haven't seen the videos, then you're underneath the dirt. Or underneath the rock.
Or you was on Facebook yesterday. Or wasn't.
Yeah, or you wasn't on Facebook yesterday. And that was the only day you tried to get on and said, the hell with this. I'm not even going to that.
I had to work.
So, yeah, I'm sure.
But anyway.
We're not talking about that. So, okay. Urban Meyers doesn't fly back home with a team. He doesn't allow nobody else to stay, but he doesn't fly back home with a team.
Because he was going to see the grandkids.
Because he was going to see and have dinner with the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw, I didn't see a grandkid in the bar with him.
No, she's somebody's grandchild.
Somebody's. Well, you're right. That was somebody's grandchild, but it wasn't his. And if that was his, Urban Meyer needs to be fired today. But my whole thing is
that was his grandchild with that thumb there. He needs to be in jail.
I think no kidding. I think you're going to find as this week has gone on, we found out a lot of different things, and we found out that Shakan, he said back on Tuesday that he's had a talk with him and he needs to straighten his ways. Don't do it again.
Your heart can't take it.
Yeah, that's my point. So my question is, what does his family say? And of course, we'll never know that.
But he apologized to them.
But he apologized to them before the video came out with his hand going up this woman's crotch, because that didn't come out till Monday night or something like that. And the video and the thing that he apologized for was the woman just standing there, and then there was another
the one where she was grinding.
He had his arm in between him and her, but his arm arm down.
He still knew.
I'm gonna tell you.
Come on.
He knew what was going on.
Even if you sitting there with your arm by your side, that's not your wife.
For him to turn around here and say that I went and had dinner and the fans wanted me to come over, so I went over. Wrong answer.
But isn't that his restaurant? Now I heard today they actually they have met before.
Well, then that's for him and his wife to figure out because
I can't get upset with him if his wife doesn't mind.
Well, I can get upset with him because I don't want my kids modeled after him,
that's
and
true,
that's the big thing. That's the other thing is Jacksonville. How is Jacksonville condoning this because it's such young players they have on their team? So he's the role model for that team, and he has this quarterback that he's trying to mold into be a great quarterback. You know, I agree with some of these other folks that are telling. I don't think he needs to be fired, but I think there needs to be some things that need to be done. So let's move on real quick. What do you think about that? As far as
I told you from the get go, I didn't give him 3 years. I don't even know if I give him the whole year now.
I don't think they're gonna. Khan's not that way. It's not gonna do it.
Yeah, but that pressure could be coming in.
The pressure. Look at the way Khan leads his other businesses. He doesn't give in to pressure, dude. And with Jacksonville losing the way they're losing, I don't think he's gonna compile on top of that because Jacksonville, once they hit their stride, Trevor he is progressing where somebody should be.
He lose face with his players.
That's the thing.
You've got to grow up. You've got to do this. Oh, I'm sorry, I got caught with it.
I didn't grow up. I didn't do that. I completely agree with you.
It's gonna be. I hear that, and I heard on the radio show today, a different show.
You mean the other day?
Oh yeah, the other day. I'm sorry. That
you partied too much last night too, did you?
You don't want to know.
Anyway, go ahead.
But they said that when he apologized to the team, a lot of players laughed at him because he doesn't have the respect from the team. And if you don't have that respect, it's time to get rid of him.
Yeah. Well, look, he has to gain that respect, and he has to bring his own players in. So you've got to give him more than 3-4 games. I don't agree with you there at all. I think he made a commitment to you. You make that same commitment to him. He made mistakes.
We all do.
But yep, and so now I think he has to go back and prove to the rest of not only his family, but he has to prove to us fans.
To the fans,
I am one of those
players,
fans. I have season tickets there.
I just don't think he has the respect of the. I
don't
think your veterans, your veteran leaders, I don't think they respect him. I think they look at him and say, he's a college coach.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens tomorrow when they come out and play because they're going to London too. Is he going to have the same antics going to London? Because he's never been there with a team. So I bet you see.
Well, no, he's going to have security detail around him now.
No, his wife's going to have security. His wife's going to be everywhere.
She may be doing something else.
All right, so Jacksonville did lose that game 24-21. Washington and your Falcons. Now the Falcons played a pretty good ball game, dude.
Defensively, we did
last week, but can they hold that? Can they hold that up this week? I don't know, dude.
No.
Here's the problem. I think it's time, and I understand you think he's your Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he's over. He's done with. As they said, I think his candle's burned out. It's time for him to go.
I will say this. I don't think he is the problem offensively.
Okay.
Because of the simple fact we have no offensive line.
I agree
There
with
is
you.
not one single lineman starting for Atlanta that could probably go to another NFL team.
But see, disagree. Last week they actually did a great job with him. They actually gave him a pocket. Last week they gave him the pocket. Is he going to give him more of a pocket this week? We'll see. But I don't think. I think it's time.
But you find a younger.
Go ahead.
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't blame him for that. Number one, the other day, Cordell Jackson or Patterson. I'm sorry. Scored 3 touchdowns. He was not in on neither of the last 2 drives of the game.
Right. Exactly.
That's coaching.
There you go. So
Matt Ryan, and this is where I got this part, was another show that I heard. Question. If you're the leader, why are you not looking at the sideline saying, why isn't he in the game?
Completely.
He's got to be in the game. He scored 3 touchdowns today. They had no answer, and he's sitting over on the sideline.
Not only that, but then you have Kyle Pitts that they don't throw to, who's also sitting on the sideline.
Was a wasted draft pick, and it's nothing against Pitts, but it's a wasted draft pick.
Because he's not using it.
Because he's not getting nothing.
Because
you've got Calvin Ridley out of, let's see, they threw to 13 times, he caught 7, and he had 3 crucial drops.
That's my point. You're saying
how is that Matt Ryan's fault? Now, having said that, yeah, let's start all over and go ahead.
You just said
get rid of Matt Ryan.
You just said the same thing. You said the same thing that I was thinking. That what's happening is he doesn't have. You're talking about Urban Meyer having control of his team. Matt Ryan doesn't have control of his own offense. He doesn't have the players he wants. Let's look at what happened to Aaron Rodgers when in the offseason he was demanding some players. He got some of those players. Matt's not demanding anything. He's just go, here we go.
Well, but the thing is, you brought in this offensive mastermind. Where is it?
Yeah, exactly. There's no mastermind going on right now. For sure.
If I'm Matt Ryan, why isn't he in the game? Shut up and play quarterback. Guess what? I'm gone.
Exactly. So, one of my bigger things we're talking about, they're already talking about MVPs. And they're talking about MVPs. They're talking about, who are we talking about right now?
Not even a quarter of the way into this.
I know, and they're already talking about MVPs, but they're talking about Mahomes, and they're talking about Murray. Already, Murray out in Arizona, first-time quarterback. He's out there. He's finally in the ball game.
What do you mean first-time quarterback?
Well, it's his second year.
No, it's
Murray?
2, yeah. This ain't his second year. He's been around about
3,
4, I believe.
Why am I thinking? Because you know why? He hasn't done anything. Why should he be an MVP? He's not doing it this year either. And we're going to Matt Ryan.
Anything.
Let's go to Matt Ryan real quick. Let me go back because we're running out of time here. So Matt Ryan has 990 yards right now passing. All right. Let's go to Dak Prescott. He has 1,000 yards.
Okay.
66. Let's go to, all right, Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes. He has 1,218 yards. All right, then let's go to Murray, 1,273 yards.
Okay.
Because they have the most yards, we're going back to our Heisman conversation. Is it because of the yards that they actually have? Is the reason that they're up there, but everybody's within a 300 radius of passing yards. So the question is who and why. Now I want you pulled it up. Hurry, because we've got to go.
Well, I'm trying to hurry.
We're being told that we're running out of time. Before. I didn't want to tell you about it because I knew you were going to get on that Google box and you were going to try.
And it's working.
And it's actually working with your new flip phone. I didn't realize that was the new updated flip phones that they got coming out. We can't say what it is because it's not. And I mean, I didn't realize it was one of those that turned into flat screen, but it's still.
Okay, right now, passing leaders. Let me put my eyeballs on. Who do you think is the passing leader?
Mahomes.
No.
Who?
Derek Carr with 1,399 yards.
Then why is Derek Carr not mentioned in this stat?
Guess who's second?
Who?
Tom Brady.
See there? You go Tom Brady and Derek Carr. Let's go by passing.
Kyler Murray is 3rd. Matthew Stafford is 4th. Mahomes is 5th.
That's because I've got those after this game. So my question is, why do you have Mahomes and him in the same category? I mean, Carr has the most passing yards and he's turning the team around. So anyway, I'll tell you what. Go to our Facebook. You'll get more stats, more of our conversation there, especially with our high school teams in this area. Go to our website and you can go to Facebook, YouTube, subscribe on our YouTube page, find our truck and scan our truck. You'll go to that and then go to all those talk places you get all your talk stuff at.
What's that called, Chris?
What's that called, Chris? Podcast. Go to your podcast and look us up, my friends.
Leave us messages. Let us know what else you might want to talk about.
Yeah, because we just talked about, 5-10 minutes of professional, but we are coming on right before some of the major games. So I'll tell you what, Chris is telling us we have to go, right, Chris? He's like, yeah, he's nodding his head. So we got to go. We'll circle back to that next week.
Yep. Have a good one.